Hi everybody and welcome to episode 2 of our new series called Technique Tuesday. So you'll notice from that little screen there that I've changed it from a 10-minute technique to a 20-ish minute because we all know that I'm not going to get a technique done in 10 minutes. And in my defense, in episode 1, which I made live last Tuesday, I did actually do 2 techniques. So that's my justification. Anyway, so what is Technique Tuesday? So Technique Tuesday, it's going to be a series of little short videos where I don't actually make a card, but I focus very much on the techniques and techniques that you can apply to your own style of crafting. It's all about learning. I'm hoping to build up a little library of techniques for you that you can then adjust to suit what you do and your own style. So what are we doing today? We are doing a brayered ink grunge background. Now, when we say grunge, it can mean lots of different things to lots of different people. It's literally just a technique and you're going to love this. It's super easy to do and it's a great way to use up scraps of cardstock that you can then die cut flowers and butterflies and what have you from. But more importantly, it's super easy. So if you're a little bit scared of doing this, hopefully this will give you some confidence to have a go. Ultimately, you cannot do this wrong. It's just laying colour down. So brayered ink grunge background is what we're going for. So let's quickly just talk about what you actually need for this. So all you need is a couple of ink pads. Now I've got Distress Oxides. They're my favourite. We all know they are. And I've chosen, the colour palette I've gone for is going to give us a rusty effect. So we've got Ground Espresso, which is the darkest brown that I think they do, Rusty Hinge and Peacock Feathers. We'll talk more about the oxide pads when we get to that stage. I've got, and I'm going to do this every single time. So every video that we do for Technique Tuesday will have the same label shape from my die set every single time, so we can look at these when I've maybe done 10. We'll have a little recap live video where I can show you what we've done, and I may even find time to make cards with them. Because I'm doing 2 techniques each time, it means I've got one to show you and one that I can actually make a project from. So I know you're going to ask me. So the die shape that I'm using is from our Lead Differently die set, and this is the Elegance rectangles, and I've chosen the 2 largest of the inner section. Easily you could do this on any of them, and I've done one of the largest so that I can show you how these look on a lovely white crisp edge background, and then 2 of the next one down. So that's that. You also will need a water mister, because I am showing you two ways to do this today, or more importantly, I'm going to show you how to fix the first one if you don't like the end result, which I think is a little bit of a bonus. And then the only equipment you need for this is brayers. Now there are lots of different brayers on the market. Those of you who know me know that these are my own brand, Sentimentally Yours brayers, and we have 2. We have the 6-inch one and we have the 4-inch one, and they are both hard red rubber. So let me just show you what I mean by that. This technique works better with the hard red rubber. If you do this with, for example, a speedball brayer, because the rubber from the speedball is softer, you don't get the same kind of effect. It's a lot more work. There's just no point in that. So when we were sourcing brays, it was important for me to get the hard red rubber ones. So why did I do a 6 and why did I do a 4? Pure and simple, because of surface area. So for the little label shapes that I'm doing today, I'm going to choose the 4-inch because it's the perfect size. If I was doing this technique on this large outer die, I would go for the 6-inch, because if you look, it covers more surface area in one sweeping motion. So that is the only reason, and sometimes people find the bigger one easier to handle than the small. So it's really just personal preference, or gauge it by surface area. So let's get cracking. We are going to do 2 simultaneously, and we are working with ink. So if you're working on your dining room table or anything, make sure you've protected it. So my brown heat resistant non-slip mats are perfect for this. But you all know me well enough to know that I am going to put some kitchen roll down over this. I don't see the point in making mess just to clean it up, unless you're going to use the ink afterwards to mop up. Just do it on a bit of kitchen roll. This is so easy, and I think you're going to love this technique. So the only other thing I'm going to do is get another bit of kitchen roll, fold it in half, and I'm going to pop it just at the side there, and that's just to clean my brayer in between colours. So going back to the colour choices, remember I've just said that this is going to be kind of a rusty effect, which is why I've chosen these. You can do this in different shades of purple and pink, yellow and orange. It really doesn't matter. The technique is the same regardless of the colour, and it will look fabulous whichever colours you choose. The other thing that's worth me mentioning to you is I am not using watercolour card. I am using our ice white cardstock. Now, why have I chosen that? Pure and simple, because it's white, and watercolour card, even our hot pressed watercolour card, which is fabulous, will give you a gorgeous effect. It will be smooth because it's a super smooth hot pressed watercolour card, but it isn't pure white, and I like to work on pure white. We are still going to get the same effect, but with a lot less base colour from the white cardstock. So ground espresso is the darkest, that is going to be last. Peacock feathers will be the middle colour, and we are going to start with rusty hinge. It's super easy to do, and I love this technique. You may have seen me do this before. Remember, this is only episode 2, so by the time we've finished with this series, if I ever am finished with this series of Technique Tuesday videos, you will have an absolutely amazing collection of toppers, tags, that you've built up that show you lots of different techniques. So I would recommend, if you're doing these along with me, if you're having a go, each time I release the video, just write on the back the colours that you've used, the technique that you've used, and the equipment. And then when you look at this, when you've got a lovely collection of these with different backgrounds and techniques, you'll be able to think, oh yeah, that's what I did. And it just makes more sense. So we're going to start by laying the colour down. One of the advantages of the hard brayer, the red rubber brayer, is that we are going to get instant texture just from applying the ink. So you notice I've turned my little label shape to the side because we're going to go from the... And that's only because if I was making this into a card, it would be portrait. If I was doing this as a landscape card, it would be this way on the card, I would start from this side. That's just me being picky. It really doesn't matter. It's all about texture. So we're going to apply some ink. So forgive the banging. It's the only way we can do this. So we're applying the first layer of rusty hinge. So I'm just going to show you how this looks on the brayer, because you may have seen me do this in videos where I've done a live, but I don't think I've ever taken the time to actually show you step by step what happens. So we've just laid the colour, and it's random because we're brayering over an ink pad. It's random look. So straight away we're going to get random patches of ink on the card, which is perfect. And if I bring that in really close, can you see where it's pooled? So we've got some higher bits, some lower bits. That is an added bonus. It means we're going to get stronger colour without actually any effort. So where do you start? Start with your piece of card. Remember, decide which way it's going in your card or your project and work accordingly. So I'm going to start just off the edge of the card, so just on the kitchen roll. And when you do your first application, you press hard at the edge, and then you just sweep up. So sweep up. So I'm kind of lifting up as I get towards the middle of the card. So I'm pressing hard at the edge and then just lifting off. Yeah, lifting off. And I mean, that looks awesome already. So you can see where the ink started to wear out. Turn it over and do it from the other side. So exactly the same thing again. Instant texture. I mean, already if I was doing a yellow and orange card, I would love this just as it is. So same thing again. Press hard at the edge and lift off. So now look, what we've ended up with is a little bit of a bonus, because we've got that lovely white edge from the die cut. Now if you don't want that lovely white edge, it's not perfectly white, but you can see where the brayer misses and it looks awesome. I love that. It's just another layer of texture. We are now going to go in from the two sides, but use a little bit less ink because it's a smaller area. So press hard, lift off, and do the same from the other side. There might actually be enough on there. Let's try that. Yep, there is. So press hard and lift off. And remember I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to show you two different variations of this. So I'm going to do the same on the other piece, so that we've got two that are exactly the same, and then I can show you how to change it if you don't like it. We've all done it. We've all started a background, worked 20 minutes on it, and then thought, I'm not sure about that. So I'm going to show you how to fix it. So exactly the same again. You can't really do this wrong. Anybody can do this. And it just looks awesome. This is why we love our ink pads, and you can do this with different ink pads. I would personally recommend the Distress Oxides because they are lovely soft blending inks and they are water reactive, so you know you're going to get lots of reaction from this if you decide to flick water on it, for example. But you can do this with any pigment ink. You can do this with dye-based inks. Just remember, dye-based inks don't move as much, so it might be a little bit more work. So we've now got our two look. I'll pop that one to one side and we'll come back to the first one that I started. So this time, can you see, look, this is where I started, so it's a little bit heavier at this side. So this time I'm going to start from the other side. Now, when you clean your brayer, if you're having a go at this, when you clean your brayer, don't do it with water and don't do it with a wet wipe. This is why I brought that extra bit of kitchen roll in, because if you get a little bit of water on especially if you're using Distress Oxides, if you get a little bit of water on your brayer left over, it will react with the ink, and we don't want that. So unless you're confident that you've got it 100% dry, I would just do this, look, just dry off the excess colour. Now we're going to bring in peacock feathers, and we're literally going to repeat what we've done, but with a little bit less ink. So let's just get some on. So I'm starting from the opposite side, and we're doing exactly the same thing again. And this is where you see it start to transform. I mean, that looks so good already. That's before I do anything with the ground espresso. Just to give you a couple of colour choices as well, just whilst I'm doing this, you can substitute the peacock feathers for tumbled glass or broken china. I do like peacock feathers because it has that lovely greeny tint. I mean, look at how gorgeous is that already. And then we'll do the same from the two sides, so a little bit less. Still flicking off, pressing harder at the edge and flicking off towards the centre. And then the same from the other side. And then I will repeat that on the other piece of card. I'm loving this edge. Loving the edge. And then I'm going to repeat that on the other piece, just so we've got the two pieces working together. Going with the slightly lighter side. So this is a bit of a twofer. It's a single demo, but with an added extra one, so it's a duo. Hence, I've changed it to 20 minutes-ish. That ish just gives me a little bit of leeway. So if you are watching me for the first time, welcome. Make sure you've subscribed to my channel. I'm also live every Monday evening on my YouTube channel and also on my Sentimentally Yours Facebook page. So do come and join us. We're a friendly bunch. We have a bit of fun, and I try and show you as much as I can during the lives. So we always make a finished card on the lives, and that's when you get sneaky peeks and things as well of new products that are coming up. Excuse me. So we've got our two there. I'm going to pop that one to one side, and we're going to start again cleaning the brayer. So I'm not removing all the ink, look. I'm just taking off any of the excess. That's perfect. And then we're going to go in with the ground espresso. Now, ground espresso is one of my favourite dark browns. I use it loads. And the only other brown that I would probably do this with would be maybe Scorched Timber, which is one of the newer ones, but it's got a slight redder tint, whereas ground espresso is a proper dark brown. I'm just getting a drink. And this time we're going to use a little bit less. I mean, I love this. Let me just show you this close up. I love this already. You don't actually need to do much more to this, and this is just 2 inks. However, the third ink does just frame it all and finish it all off. So personally, I would recommend that you use three inks. You can use more, 3 or more, we'll say. It looks fabulous in 2, but if you're using just 2 colours, it would probably need to be strongish colours like these are. So ground espresso is a lot stronger. So I'm using a lot less, look. Let's just show you that. So I've got a lot less ink on there. And this time, I'm trying not to go all the way to the middle. I will run it over at the end, but I'm now just trying to work on the edges. So we're just getting little bits of darkness towards the edge. Oh, that looks absolutely fabulous. Let's put a bit more ink on. So I am literally on the edges, look. If I just bring this in and show you. I'm pressing a little bit hard. If I just bring this in and show you, you might be able to see that better. So can you see how much darker it is at this side, this edge, compared to the other side? Because I haven't done that one yet. So let me just do a little bit more. So this is what, I mean, there isn't really a technical term for this, but we're effectively framing the colour, giving it a shadow around the edge. So I've taken off most of that ink now from the brayer. And to finish that off, I'm going to just roll over it once. You can see it's a little bit lighter in the middle. So the tiny bit of ink that's left on here, I'm now going to roll over everywhere. Oh, that is awesome. Oh, I love that. Look at that. And that in its own right, I absolutely love this. In its own right, it's stunning. You can just use that as a backdrop and it would look amazing. We're going to do the other one, and then I'm going to quickly show you how you can change the look. Because I know what you like, I know what I'm like. So it could be that you get to this stage and you think, oh, do you know what? I'm not sure whether I like it or not. So I'm going to show you how to change it, how to fix it. So I'm doing exactly the same thing, look. This works with a brayer. It won't work with a sponge because the sponge applies the ink too softly. So just working on the edges the same way as I did on the other piece. And I've got a squeaky brayer. It does make me laugh. So you can see, look, where I've got it darker. And then we'll do exactly the same thing and roll over the whole thing with the little bit of ink that's left over very lightly. I'm not applying any pressure for this. So don't apply any pressure. Just let the ink transfer to the piece of card without applying any pressure. So we've now got 2 pieces that look awesome. And you saw how quick and easy that was to do. We are only 19 minutes in, and that's with doing a bit of talking at the beginning. So we've got these fabulous, grungy, rusty looking toppers that you would obviously pop a sentiment on whatever you want with them. So at this stage, you can think, do you know what? I'm not sure. You can go in, add a little bit more rusty hinge, add a little bit more peacock feathers, whatever colours you're using, or you can change the whole thing. So I'm going to keep this one, and I'm going to show you how to change this now, simply with a little bit of water. In fact, I'll leave that there for a second. So we're now going to take the mister. So water misters, they're all over the place. Ours is a super fine spray, super fine water mister. So it's perfect for this because I won't get too much water where I don't want it. So I'm going to do just a couple of sprays And you can actually see that changing already. Let me try and show you. I'm going to do one more there. Oh, awesome. So let me just put the original next to it. And I'm going to show you this one. Now, a couple of things to mention. Personally, I'm just going to do a bit more. I would leave this to dry naturally. What you have to be careful of, can you see how the water is now making the ink travel? We don't want it to pool at the edges. So let's just move this off the kitchen roll. We don't want it to pool at the edges. By doing that, we will end up with concentrated colour pools at the side. So I am going to bring in my heat gun. And I'm going to hold it down in the centre just with something small so that it dries flatter and that it doesn't make the ink travel too much. So I'll do it on high. So I'm doing this on high speed, but I'm doing it from a distance. So this is just to get some warm air flowing over the cardstock. And I will dry this properly so that you can see and compare the two techniques. Both of them look awesome. Because I've added the water, you can see that it's blended the inks together. Oh, it looks amazing. This is super, super easy to do. So don't go too close. That looks fantastic. And just give it a quick waft on the back. And then flatten it from the front. Oh, you're glad I said 20 minutes-ish. Right, are you ready for the comparison? I mean, that is stunning. And that's literally just the same technique, but with water. And because we've used water, you can see that it's gone more into the pierced section from the die. So left is without water, right is with water. How stunning is that? And even more impressive is when you pop it onto your layer. So this is the larger layer. Look how gorgeous that is. Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So particularly with the piercing on the dies, it looks really, really pretty. You literally just need some coordinating embellishments and a sentiment and away you go. So that's how it looks with that one. And this is how it looks with this one. So exactly the same technique, just with the application of some water. Just get that central so you can see it properly. Look how gorgeous that looks. And there you go. So we've got two completely different looks from the same technique. And I hope you've enjoyed that. So this is episode 2. And this is our inky brayered or brayered ink grunge background. And I hope you've enjoyed that and have a go. Do remember, if you're going to have a go, make sure you've joined our Facebook group. So the Facebook group is, just search on Facebook for Crafting with Phill Martin and Sentimentally Yours and ask to join the group. You do need to fill in the group questions before the system will let you in. If you don't, it automatically declines the request. And then just tag me. Make sure you tag me, Phill Martin or Sentimentally Yours, so I can see what you've done. I'd love to see what other people have done. So remember, hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell so you are notified when I go live every Monday evening at 7 p.m. UK time on Sentimentally Yours Facebook page and on YouTube. And failing that, I will see you in our Facebook group. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks, everybody. Bye.